And in this episode of the IBM I Update, we ask, is IBM I the perfect platform for native agentic AI? How NCP may be the bridge between your data and AI automation. Ask when IBM I skills become a resilience risk, and the latest on the event circuit too. Hello and welcome to your IBM I Update, brought to you by Proximity, your premier partner for IBM I application support and development. And for May, we start with Bob. And IBM announced this month that Bob Premium Package for I is planned for general availability on the 24th of June. But what is the Premium Package? Well, in simple terms, it takes the foundation of IBM Bob and tailors it for IBM I. The Bob Premium Package for I adds direct IBM I connectivity, RPG-focused skills, curated IBM I documentation, code generation, refactoring, technical documentation, and unit test generation. Now, this matters because it shows IBM is not approaching AI-assisted development on IBM I with a one-size-fits-all mindset. Instead, Bob Premium Package for I appears designed as a platform-aware assistant that understands the realities of IBM I development, from RPG application structures through to modernization pressures many organizations are now facing. So it's another sign that IBM see AI-assisted development not only as a replacement for IBM I expertise, but as a way to help preserve, accelerate, and extend it. Now, at the start of the month, I enjoyed the pleasure of attending the Common Norge Professional Day over in Oslo. This event brought together the IBM Power community for a packed agenda centered on Power 11, AI, and the evolving role of IBM Power in enterprise technology. Hosted at the IBM Client Center, which was just a lovely nice walk along the riverbank from my hotel in the centre of Oslo, the event combined strategic sessions from IBM experts with practical technical content for the wider Power and IBM I community. The day opened with a focus on agentic AI, exploring how organizations can move beyond isolated AI projects and begin tuning artificial intelligence into operational and commercial value. This theme continued throughout the agenda, with sessions showing how IBM Power is being positioned as a secure, resilient, and increasingly AI-ready platform for mission-critical workloads. Of course, I also enjoyed meeting new contacts, and the food and company were excellent. Now, I wish I could report more, but unfortunately, the majority of the presentations were in Norwegian. Thankfully for me, the slides were mostly in English, so I was able to follow along to a large extent. There was one presentation in English, however, and that was mine. Yes, and for the first time, I presented an IBM I Update live. Here I covered a few pertinent articles from recent updates, including Project Bob, what AI means for IBM I developers, and also, more importantly perhaps, analysing the results of the IBM I Marketplace survey. So, my summary, well, what stood out most was the direction of travel. IBM Power is no longer being discussed purely in terms of its stability and reliability. although of course those qualities remain essential. Increasingly, the conversation is about how the platform can underpin AI, automation, modernization, and secure enterprise innovation. My thanks go to the organisers, Eric and the Common Norge team, for their invitation and of course their warm hospitality. I look forward to going again. Now, while IBM I was not designed for the AI era, many of the design decisions that made it successful may now make it ideal for enterprise AI. So, the question is, could IBM I be the perfect agentic operating system? And this was the prevailing theme that ran through the Power Up event in New Orleans at the end of April. That IBM may be repositioning IBM I entirely. Not just to survive the AI era, but in fact to lead it. And that's because of the intrinsic nature of the architecture of I that provides the foundational layers that AI needs to operate effectively. And this all starts with data. And unlike many open system environments where organizations often have to stitch together databases, data lakes, middleware, security levels, and governance tools, IBM I already has its core business data tightly integrated into the platform through its integrated DB2. Now, this matters because AI is only useful when it can access trusted, meaningful, well-governed data. In addition, enterprise AI cannot simply be allowed to wander through business systems unrestricted. There has to be security in place to help protect systems and data integrity without being overtly complex to set up and manage. And of course, this is where IBM I has a natural strength. Security and identity are not bolted on as an afterthought. They are part of a platform's design, and that gives IBM I a credible foundation for AI that is not just clever, but controlled. Then there's access and identity. Now you see, agentic AI needs to know who is asking, what they're allowed to see, and what actions they can perform. IBM I already has strong user profiles, authority models, and access controls to manage trust, permissions, and accountability across the platform. Now, AI agents are not just chatbots. They may need to run tasks, monitor activity, and trigger processes. IBM I already has native capabilities around job scheduling, batch processing, job queues, message queues, and operational state. These are the kind of platform level capabilities that AI agents need if they're going to become useful inside real enterprise environments. Or to look at it in another way, or in other words, IBM I already understands how to run business processes reliably. This is a major advantage when you start thinking about AI agents that need to support operations rather than just produce text. IBM I has always been trusted for transactional workloads, orders, invoices, stock movements, financial postings, warehouse updates, and customer records that need to be processed accurately and reliably. For AI, this is critical. So if AI is going to support or take actions in enterprise environments, businesses, they need the traceability, and IBM I already has strong auditing, logging, and compliance capabilities built into the platform. And of course, the final point is operational visibility. AI becomes much more useful when it can understand not just the data, but the wider operating environment. IBM I can expose a huge amount of system information through logs, messages, jobs, queues, SQL services, performance data, and operational monitoring. This is where IBM I services and SQL services become particularly important. They provide a structured way to access system information, which can then be used by AI tools, assistants, or agents. So what does this all mean? Well, simply speaking, enterprise AI needs more than just a simple large language model. It needs a trusted operating system around it. It needs integrated data, security, identity, scheduling, transactional integrity, auditability, easy for me to say, and of course, operational visibility. And these 7 foundations are not new concepts on IBM I. They are part of the platform's design. And that's what makes IBM's positioning so interesting. While many organizations are trying to assemble these capabilities across multiple tools and multiple platforms, IBM I customers may already have much of the required foundation in place. Now, while the foundational aspects is all there within the IBM I, we'll still need to connect and interact with external systems, tools, and data sources. And that's where MCP, or Model Context Protocol, comes in. So you see, MCP acts as the bridge, if you like, between the IBM I and agentic AI. Because AI is only useful when it can work with the real business context across the enterprise. So your IBM I will already contain huge amounts of trusted operational data within the DB2. However, other operational data, services and processes may be within external systems, perhaps stored within an SQL. MCP gives AI agents a way to access that information in a structured, controlled, and useful way. That means AI models could, for example, connect to IBM I data, queries, sales information, review operational trends, inspect system status, or help produce reports based on live enterprise data. Jesse Gorensky demonstrated this idea at the Power Up event, showing how an IBM I-based MCP server could connect an AI model to sales data in DB2 for I, and then generate a PowerPoint presentation from the insights it found. So the important point is that this is not about wrapping a chatbot around an old system. As Adam Shedevy explained at Power Up, the opportunity is to build agents that participate in the operating model itself. Agents that can be reasoned with, decide and act over business processes in a controlled way. And this is where IBM I becomes especially compelling, because the platform already has the core capabilities that agentic AI needs: identity, security, scheduling, state management, auditability, and access to trusted data. MCP does not replace those strengths, it exposes them to AI in a more modern and standardized way. This is why MCP could become such an important part of the IBM AI model. It provides the connectivity tissue between these models and the live enterprise systems where real business happens. Now, IBM I has always had a strong reputation for resilience. For many organizations, that resilience conversion has traditionally focused on infrastructure. So, hardware reliability, backups, high availability, disaster recovery, replication, role swaps, cyber recovery, and data protection. Now, all of that matters. But there is another form of resilience that is becoming just as important: application resilience. A recent article in the IT Jungle made the point that IBM skill shortages are now becoming a direct business continuity risk. Because for many businesses, the real risk is not simply whether the IBM platform is available, it's whether the business has the right people, the right knowledge and support model in place to keep the applications running. One of the most important observations in the article by Ash Giddens is that deep IBM knowledge is often concentrated in a small number of individuals. These are people who understand the nuances of the environment, the dependencies between applications, and of course, the practical steps required when something unusual happens. They know which jobs need to run in which order. They know which programs were changed for a specific customer requirement 10 years ago. They know which interfaces are business critical, even if they are not particularly well documented. They know what to check when a warehouse process, an invoicing run, or EDI flow fails. That knowledge is incredibly valuable. But if it exists only in people's heads, it's also a risk. So high availability helps keep systems running, and disaster recovery can restore or switch environments. So yes, infrastructure resilience is essential. But application continuity depends on more than just the machines being available. So when those individuals retire, when they move role, their hours are reduced, they go on holiday, or are simply unavailable during an incident, the business can quickly discover that its application resilience is weaker than expected. Now, many IBM applications have been developed and refined over decades. This is often a strength. These systems reflect the business in detail and support processes that generic or vanilla enterprise software would struggle to replicate. But over time, documentation can drift, people and processes can change, development standards move, interfaces and programs multiply, so the enterprise becomes harder to understand. Business logic that's embedded in code, making procedures and operational routines not always visible to new team members. So, just as infrastructural resilience should be addressed, application resilience should be a priority too. To this end, a good application managed service should help turn that tribal knowledge into managed knowledge. The IT Jungle article makes another useful point. Readiness should not be assumed, it should be verified. Now, in the context of HA and DR, that means testing recovery processes and validating that organizations can actually perform a role swap when needed. The same thinking should apply to application support. It's not enough to assume that businesses can cope because the system has a "always worked" label on it. Many IBM environments are supported by extremely capable people. In fact, that's part of a platform story. Businesses have often retained skilled, loyal individuals who understand their system in remarkable depth. But a "Dave knows it" it's not a continuity strategy. Nor is "we'll call Sarah if something breaks." Now, these people may be brilliant, but if the business depends entirely upon them, then it has a single point of failure. And unlike hardware, that single point of failure may not appear on the infrastructure diagram, nor is it easy to replace. This is why skills planning should be treated as part of resilience planning. To this end, the IBM shop should treat application knowledge transfer as a planned resilience activity. This can include discovery, documentation, shadowing, support onboarding, code analysis, process mapping, and gradual transition into a managed service model. The aim here is not to replicate internal teams. In many cases, the best model is a blended one. Internal business knowledge supported by external IBM specialists team who provide depth, cover, continuity, and indeed additional skills that may not have been in the enterprise before for modernization, app development, integration. This gives the organization more confidence and avoids the classic risks of relying on one or two people to carry an entire application estate. IBM remains one of the most resilient enterprise platforms available, but do your skills replicate that? And finally, we've a couple of events coming up that I'll be attending and even speaking at. Yes, in the middle of June, we have the Common Europe event in Lyon, France. Now, if you're looking to attend, please join me for the IBM Update Live. Yes, a presentation of some of the hit articles and a little more will be presented by myself on late Monday afternoon. Do join me if you can. But before then, we have the iPower event in Milton Keynes at the beginning of June. Now, I'll be there too, hosting the Proximity Fresche booth at the event. Do come and say hello. Now, if you're umming and ahhing about attending or just don't know what to expect, I spoke with Common board member Steve Cast to provide an insight and a bit of a preview. Steve, welcome to the IBM Update.
Andy, hi, it's great to be here, thank you.
Excellent. Now, if someone can only attend one IBM event in the UK this year, why should iPower 2026 be the one that they choose?
What a great question. Well, obviously, as a member of the IUG, they're entitled to attend more than one event, but if they really found their schedules only allowed them to come to one, then our June iPower event really is the flagship event that we run each year. Why? Well, it's a 2-day event for starters. So we have our first day workshops. Really the focus there is on educational training from industry leading experts offering that training at kind of a bargain price really at £55 to attend for the day. You're not going to get anything like that level of training anywhere else.
No.
And then the second day is where we really sort of move into keynote sessions. We often have our debate and we toggle between the idea of the debate one year and then ask the experts the following year. This year it's Ask the Expert. So again, a great opportunity to put your question to our expert panel. And then that's followed by our breakout sessions, and then we assemble back at the end of the day for a kind of closing session. So 2 days with a bridge in the middle, and the bridge in the middle is our gala dinner. So this is a 3-course sit-down meal on a round table with other peers in the IBMI marketplace. So a fantastic opportunity to network and socialise with friends, colleagues, but of course meet those other users and swap stories. So yeah, £55 per day, so 110 for the 2 days, including the gala dinner. It's probably the best 110 you're going to spend this year.
It is fabulous value, and I'll vouch for the gala dinner. It's always a good knees up.
Yeah, and there'll be a little bit of wine, and there'll be a little bit of beer for those that like beer as well. So yeah, it's a very sociable event. So.
And the full iPower interview.
Now, iPower is
will
moving
be
to the Leonardo Hotel in Milton Keynes.
That's it for your May 2026 update. For more like this and to subscribe to the IBMI update, please see our blog on the Proximity website and on LinkedIn too. But for now, I'm Andrew Nicholson. We are Proximity, the IBMI application managed service partners that are in your corner. We'll see you next time, and hopefully at an event. Goodbye.